Here we have our product rule for derivatives, which is denoted as such. d dx f of x times g of x equals f of x times g prime of x plus f prime of x times g of x. So when do we use it? So the product rule for derivatives is used to find the derivative of two functions, which is denoted as f of x and g of x, that are multiplied together. So the f of x just means function 1. The g prime of x refers to the derivative of function 2. F prime of x is the derivative of function 1. And g of x is function 2. So if I were to read this verbally, what it would mean is function 1 times the derivative of function 2 plus the derivative of function 1 times function 2. So let's work through some examples to solidify this concept a bit more. For this first example, let's use the product rule to find a derivative of x cubed plus 9x times 2x plus 4. So we're going to have to divide this into 4 different parts. Well, we don't have to, but it just makes it easier. So we have part 1, which is just function 1, part 2, which is the derivative of function 2, part 3, which is the derivative of function 1, and part 4, which is just the function 2. Okay, so let's start with part 1. So let's identify f of x, which is just function 1. So it would be x cubed plus 9x, right? And then if we jump to part 4, it's just function 2, and we already have that right here. So we would just put 2x plus 4. Okay, and now for part 2, we need the derivative of g of x. And for part 3, we need the derivative of f of x. So if we start with the derivative of f of x, we would get 3x squared plus 9. And for the derivative of function 2, g of x, it would be just 2. Right? So if we plug this all back in, we get the derivative of d of x of f of x times g of x would give us x cubed plus 9x times 2 plus 3x squared plus 9 times 2x plus 4, right? We're essentially just rewriting this, which is the formula for the product rule, and filling it in with our f of x, our g prime of x, our f prime of x, and our g of x, right? So this we solved right here, the 2 we solved right here, this part we solved right here, and the 2x plus 4 is our original g of x function, right? So we just plugged everything in, but this would be the final answer. But if you wanted to simplify it, you could. So this is how you would do if you this is what you would do if you wanted to simplify. Okay, so we have x cubed plus 9x, and we would times that by 2, which would give us 2x cubed plus 18x. And then for the second portion, we have 3x squared plus 9 times 2x plus 4. So if we distribute all of that, we would get 3x squared times 2x would give us 6x cubed. The 9 times 4 would give us 36. The 4 times 3x squared would give us 12x squared. And the 9 times 2x would give us 18x. Okay, so then together we would have 2x cubed plus 18x plus not 16, plus 6x cubed plus 36 plus 12x squared plus 18x. So then we can combine like terms. So we have, let's see, we have 18x and 18x, which would give us 36x. So we got rid of those. We have 12x squared with no other like terms, so we could just leave that as 12x squared. And then we have a 36 with no like terms, so we can just leave 36. But then we have a 2x cubed and a 6x cubed, which would give us 8x cubed. So this right here would be our final simplified answer, which is equivalent to this answer right here. It's just more simplified. So depending on what you need, if you're required to simplify further, you can use this. But if you could leave it like that without simplifying, that would be equal as well. I mean, that would be correct as well. Okay, so how do we apply the product rule if there are more than two functions? Okay, so our original rule is written as f of x times g prime of x plus f prime of x times g of x, right? So if we're adding a third function or a fourth function or a fifth function, whatever it is, you just add that third function to your original rule. So what used to be 4 parts is going to turn into 9 parts. So here we have f prime of x times g of x. That's exactly like our original, but we're going to add this third function, which is h of x. For the second part, it's f of x times g prime of x. Again, that's exactly how our original product rule was written. We're just going to add an h of x. And then for the final part, it turns into f of x times g of x times h prime of x. So we originally had 4 parts, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it turns into 9 part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let's apply this to an example to make this a bit more concrete. Let's find the derivative of ex times 6x squared plus 9x. So here we have function 1, function 2, and function 3. And this is what we're going to use to solve for the derivative of this altogether. So there are 3 different components: f of x, g of x, and h of x, and their derivatives. So I guess 6 components, but really it's just 3 and their derivatives. So let's solve for each of these, and then we can work on plugging it in and go from there. So f of x is just ex, sorry. And g of x is going to be 6x squared, and h of x is going to be 9x. So this is just function 1, function 2, function 3. We haven't done any math yet. So now let's take the derivative of each of these. So for the derivative of ex is always going to be itself ex. That's something good to learn. It's going to simplify things a lot. Then g of x, the derivative of g of x is going to be 12x. Remember, we're just going to times 6 times 2. And then take 1 away from the exponent, which would just leave us with 1, so just 12x. And the derivative of hx would just be 9. So now, let's just plug it all in. We have, in our original equation, we have, let's see, we have f prime of x goes first, which we know is ex. G of x is 6x squared. And h of x is just 9x. Okay, and if we simplify that further, so remember we're only working with this part right now. If we simplify that further, we would get 54x cubed times EX. Okay, so now let's move on to the second section right here. Let me scroll down. So we have f of x, which is just EX, times g prime of x, which is 12x. This up here is basically like our key, kind of. Okay, and then we have times h of x, which is just 9x. Okay, and if we multiply those together, the answer is going to be 108 x squared times EX. Okay, and now let's do this third portion right here. So we have f of x, which is just EX, times by g of x, which is just 6x squared, times h prime of x, which is 9. And if we times those together, we would get 54x squared times EX. Okay, so if we put that all together, our final answer would be d dx f of x g of x h of x equals 54x cubed EX plus, remember, it's a plus sign and a plus sign, 108 x squared EX plus 54x squared times EX. And you have like terms right here, so you could simplify that further. So you would have 54x cubed EX plus 162x squared EX. That would be the final answer for this one.